Hello, Huntington Beach. It is my pleasure today to welcome Neal Kelley, our Orange County Registrar of Voters, to talk about the upcoming election and what he is doing to make sure that everyone feels their vote is safe and all of those important questions. So, welcome today, Neal. We really appreciate you coming out to our City Hall. We're, as you can see, in front of one of our ballot boxes. So first of all, let's talk about what are the voting options that people have in place.
Well, Mayor, thanks for having me on, actually. I really appreciate it. There's a lot of options, and one of the key options that I like to talk about first is voting at home. So voters have the opportunity to have a ballot that'll be delivered to them, and then several options to return it over 30 days. And that's really important. I think a lot of individuals want that security and comfort of voting at home. But for those voters that would prefer to vote in person, we have 170 vote centers will be opening on October the 30th, including 9 right here in Huntington Beach. And so those options will be available for voters for 5 days, starting on October 30th.
For people that want to vote in person but might be concerned about COVID, what precautions do we have in place?
You know, we have been nonstop planning since March for this process. We were already in the planning stages of a presidential election, then COVID hit. And so what we have done is put a very robust plan in place to protect not only voters but our staff. And just to kind of give you a high-level overview, voters will walk in and have hand sanitizer stations, clear signage, floor markings to tell them where to go and where not to go. We'll offer a face mask if they don't have one, and that'll be available. We'll have hand sanitizing stations near the voting booths, and then disposable pens. So no longer will a voter have to use the same pen as another voter. And then as they leave, they can pick up their I voted sticker out of a dispenser instead of being handed an I voted sticker.
You've thought of everything.
We tried to.
Because I know some people, the only way that they feel safe is in person. So
Sure.
I have to say, I really appreciate all you've done to make that available to everybody.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that was really clear is people enjoyed that in-person option in March. And the last thing I wanted to do was to shutter those because of COVID. But we did reduce the number of days. Instead of 11, it's 5, but we're still doing more than the state requires.
Okay, another important question. What safeguards do you have in place so that people feel their vote is safe?
You know, that's number one on my agenda because I think it's very important to make sure that we have strong election security in place. We have a good partnership with Homeland Security and the FBI. We work every other week with those teams. We have a very strong relationship with the District Attorney's Office as well as our local law enforcement fusion center. All of that together means we've got a really robust plan in place, both physical security as well as network security. So I can't talk about all the security features in place, but I'll tell you it's doubled since 2016.
Well, that's good to know. And so along those same lines, what about how are you managing the voter rolls, making sure that people aren't being removed that shouldn't be, and then vice versa, of course?
That's a great question. One of the biggest challenges that I have, voter databases are one of the few government databases where you're not compelled to change your information. So we have some voters that might move 7, 8, 9 times in a couple-year span and never tell my office that they moved. If we don't pick up that information off of the regular lists that we're required to run, I don't know if they've moved. So we use third-party data that picks up moves off of other sources, and then we send voters postcards to verify either they've moved or they still live there. Now, with that being said, it's still a challenge to always keep those rolls clean, but I think we're one of the cleanest in the state. And we do this right before we mail the ballots to make sure it's clean.
Well, I know the word out there is that you've done all that you can, and again, we really appreciate that. So, but another question I hear about ballot harvesting, is that something that we need to be concerned about?
You know, I've not been a big fan of the law, but it is the law of the land, and what it means essentially is that you as a voter can turn your ballot over to anybody. It doesn't have to have a relationship anymore. And so that individual could be from a party or a campaign, and they have a requirement to deliver the ballot to my office either through a drop box or through the mail or in person within 72 hours.
Okay.
Now, when you turn your ballot over, to me, that's kind of a sacred thing, right? You're turning your ballot over to an individual, but it is allowed, and it's something that we do our best to monitor, but because it's allowed anywhere at any time and any number of ballots, it's tough to keep a handle on that.
No, I can imagine that's true. So another super important question people need to know, we're standing in front of one place right here where people can vote, but what are all the locations in Huntington Beach or beyond where people can vote?
So 9 locations in Huntington Beach, including downtown, right here at City Hall, lots of good options for voters. Drop boxes are all around the city as well. We have 8 locations, including 5 Points Plaza, here at City Hall, at the library downtown on Main Street. So there's lots of options for voters. But the easiest way for them to choose where to vote is on our website, ocvote.com. They can just click find a location and type in their address. So it's really easy to locate. But again, just a reminder, 170 locations, and you don't have to vote in your home precinct or in your home city. You can vote anywhere in Orange County.
So another question, when can people expect to see that ballot coming in the mail?
So we're sending out voter guides starting on Thursday the 24th, and then we will send out ballots starting on October the 5th. So they should see their ballots in early October. They'll receive one through the mail. They have lots of options to return them, and if a voter just really doesn't feel comfortable putting into the mail system, we've got these drop boxes, 116 throughout the county, or they could go in person and drop it off at a vote center. So lots of different options for them.
That is very good to know. So we really appreciate you being here with us today and coming out to our city to just give us all this information that's going to make people know and feel safe that the election is going to go the way it should this year in terms of getting that vote counted. So again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Any chance to get out of my office and come down to Beach, I take it.
Very good. Well, we love having you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Neal.